The massive alien ship appeared without warning on a quiet Tuesday morning. It emerged from the dark space beyond Mars, its metal hull gleaming under Earth's sun. Behind it, 30 smaller ships formed a perfect arrow shape, all pointing toward humanity's home planet. General Tom Miller stared at the main screen in the Pentagon's control room, his coffee growing cold in his forgotten mug. Around him, military personnel rushed back and forth, their voices a mix of panic and forced calm. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," a young officer called out, his fingers flying over his keyboard. The general straightened his uniform. "Put them through." The screen flickered, and a tall figure appeared. The alien commander stood at least 8 feet tall, with gray-blue skin that seemed to shimmer like polished metal. 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, blinked at the humans. "People of Earth," the alien's voice boomed through the speakers. "I am Commander First Light of the Galactic Alliance. Your planet has something that belongs to us. Something dangerous. Surrender it, or face the consequences." General Miller stepped forward. "This is General Miller of Earth's United Defense Force. We have no knowledge of anything belonging to your people. Perhaps we could discuss this matter peacefully." The alien commander's upper eyes narrowed. "Peaceful? When you harbor such a beast? Our research teams have confirmed its presence on your world. We tracked it here. You cannot hide it any longer." In the background, analysts were already scanning global databases, looking for anything that might match what the aliens were seeking. Reports flooded in from every major military installation worldwide. Nothing seemed to fit. "Commander First Light," Miller spoke carefully, "we would be happy to help you locate whatever you're looking for, but we need more information. What exactly is this beast?" The alien's face twisted into what might have been a smile, but looked more like a grimace. "You play innocent well, human, but we have seen its power, its ferocity, the way it dominates your species. Our scientists have studied the footage extensively." Miller exchanged confused looks with his staff. What could the aliens possibly be talking about? Earth had many dangerous creatures, but none that dominated humanity. "Perhaps," Miller suggested, "if you shared some of this footage, we could better assist you." The alien commander pressed something off-screen. "Watch and understand our concern." The screen split, showing what appeared to be surveillance footage from somewhere in a city. The quality was surprisingly good, showing a normal street scene. Then something moved fast across the frame. Miller leaned forward, squinting. "Was that there?" Commander First Light's voice rose with emotion. "The beast in action." The general blinked several times. He watched as the footage showed a police officer with their K9 partner chasing down a suspect. The dog, a young German shepherd, easily caught up with the runner and took them down with practiced efficiency. "I don't understand," Miller started, but the alien cut him off. "You engineered them to be perfect hunters. Look at their speed, their strength, their unwavering loyalty to their masters. We know you keep them in your homes, training them from birth, creating an army of these creatures." For a long moment, nobody in the control room spoke. General Miller coughed, trying desperately to maintain his professional composure. Behind him, he could hear someone trying to suppress a laugh. "Commander," Miller said carefully, "I believe there's been a misunderstanding. What you're seeing is..." "No more lies." First Light slammed a hand down on something off-screen. "We have captured one of these beasts. If you do not comply with our demands, we will be forced to use it against you. Your own weapon, turned back upon your world." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the control room in stunned silence. Finally, Colonel Reed, Miller's second-in-command, cleared his throat. "Sir, did they just? Are they threatening Earth with a dog?" Miller sat down heavily in his chair, rubbing his temples. "Get me the president, and find me our best K9 trainer. Something tells me we're going to need both." 6 hours after the initial contact, General Miller found himself in a hastily arranged video conference with Commander First Light. The president had insisted on seeing this terrible weapon before making any decisions. Kate Wilson, the military's top K-9 trainer, stood quietly in the corner of the room, waiting. Behold. Commander First Light's voice carried a note of triumph as the camera panned to a large containment unit, the ultimate biological weapon of Earth. The containment unit looked like a massive fish tank made of something similar to glass, but stronger. Inside, sitting on a soft blue blanket and wagging its tail, was a 3-month-old German Shepherd puppy. Kate covered her mouth, trying not to make a sound. The puppy had a black and tan coat, oversized paws, and floppy ears that hadn't quite learned to stand up yet. It was currently busy trying to catch its own tail. As you can see, First Light continued, we have spared no expense in containing this monster. The walls are made of reinforced quantum crystal, strong enough to withstand a nuclear blast. The puppy flopped onto its back, paws waving in the air. General Miller coughed. And, how did you capture this fearsome creature? First Light's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. It was not easy. We found it in something your people call a pet shop. Some kind of training facility, we assume. The beast was surrounded by smaller ones, clearly a leader among them. In the corner, Kate had to turn around, her shoulders shaking with silent laughter. The shop owner tried to stop us, the alien commander continued. She kept saying strange things like, he needs his mommy, and he's not ready for adoption, obviously attempting to protect her weapon. The puppy had now discovered its own reflection in the containment wall and was playfully pawing at it. Commander, Miller said carefully, perhaps we could send an expert to examine the weapon, to verify its authenticity, of course. First Light's skin rippled with what might have been pride. You admit it then? That this is indeed your ultimate weapon? We would need to examine it closely to confirm, Miller replied diplomatically. The alien commander considered this for a moment. All 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Very well. But be warned, we have studied this creature extensively. We know its capabilities. Our scientists have documented everything. A different alien stepped into view, holding what appeared to be a tablet. According to our research, the scientist began, these beasts possess extraordinary abilities. They can hear frequencies beyond normal range, smell particles in parts per trillion, and run at high speeds for extended periods. Their jaw strength is remarkable, another scientist added, stepping into view. And most terrifying of all, they have evolved specifically to manipulate human emotions. Look how it maintains eye contact, trying to control our minds even now. The puppy had indeed turned to look at the camera, head tilted to one side, ears flopping adorably. And the final proof of their weapon status. First Light declared, they have been engineered to be totally loyal to their human masters. No natural creature would show such unwavering devotion. It must be the result of advanced genetic manipulation. Kate finally stepped forward. General, with your permission, I'd like to volunteer to inspect the weapon. First Light's skin changed color slightly. You? You dare approach such a dangerous creature? I'm trained for this, Kate said solemnly, though her eyes twinkled. I've handled many such weapons before. The aliens conferred among themselves in hushed tones. Finally, First Light turned back to the screen. Very well, but you must follow our containment protocols. The beast is cunning. It has already tricked 3 of our crew members into wanting to. What did they call it? Give it belly rubs. We'll arrive at your ship in 2 hours, Miller said. Please prepare for our expert's inspection. As the transmission ended, Kate turned to the general. Sir, should I bring treats and a tennis ball for the inspection? Miller rubbed his forehead, fighting a smile. Better bring 2 balls. Something tells me we're going to need all the diplomatic tools we can get. 3 weeks before the fleet arrived at Earth, the alien research team had been conducting their final observation mission. Their small ship, hidden behind advanced cloaking technology, hovered above a busy city park. Lead researcher Dawn Star adjusted her observation equipment, All four eyes focused on the scene below. This was their 40th day, studying Earth's most puzzling species, humans, and their mysterious beast companions. Log entry 47. She spoke into her recorder. The training of these creatures appears to begin at an extremely young age. Observe. Below, a small human child toddled across the grass, followed closely by a golden retriever. When the child stumbled, the dog quickly moved to support them, letting the little one grab its fur to stay upright. The beasts are conditioned to protect even the youngest humans, Dawn Star noted. Their loyalty programming is remarkable. Her assistant, Skywatcher, suddenly called out from his monitoring station. Lead researcher, emergency broadcast from the Human Law Enforcement Channel. They quickly redirected their equipment to follow a police pursuit in progress. Through their cameras, they watched as a human officer released one of the beasts, a German Shepherd, from their vehicle. The dog moved with incredible speed, easily catching up to the fleeing suspect and taking them down with precise movements. Extraordinary, Dawn Star whispered. The combat capabilities are even more advanced than we thought. And look, complete obedience to verbal commands. But lead researcher, Skywatcher pointed to another monitor. How do you explain this? The screen showed a different scene. A small apartment where an elderly human sat in a chair, a large black dog resting its head on their lap. The human was crying, and the dog kept gently nudging their hand, offering comfort. Don't you see? Dawn Star's skin flickered with excitement. They're not just weapons, they're psychological manipulation units. These creatures can assess human emotional states and respond accordingly. They're the perfect infiltration tools. As they watched, more evidence seemed to support their theory. Dogs guarding homes, dogs leading blind humans through crowded streets, dogs finding lost people in the wilderness, dogs detecting illegal substances at security checkpoints. The versatility is unmatched, Dawn Star recorded, and the humans keep them everywhere, in their homes, their workplaces, their recreational areas. They even have special training facilities disguised as dog parks where they practice combat maneuvers in plain sight. Skywatcher pulled up historical data on his screen. Lead researcher, you should see this. According to Earth's own records, these creatures once were wolves. Dawn Star rushed to his station. Her eyes widened as she read the information. Impossible. Are you saying humans took one of Earth's most dangerous predators and modified them over thousands of years? The genetic manipulation is incredible, Skywatcher agreed. They took apex predators and engineered them to be completely loyal while maintaining their hunting instincts and physical capabilities. Just then, their instruments picked up a new scene. A human female was training a young German Shepherd puppy. The small creature was learning to sit, stay, and come on command. This must be the early programming phase, Dawn Star noted excitedly. Look how they use positive reinforcement to install the command protocols, and some form of small food items as rewards. Should we alert the command fleet? Skywatcher asked nervously. If humans can do this, take wild predators, and turn them into loyal companions, imagine what else they might be capable of. Dawn Star's skin turned a pale shade of blue as the implications hit her. Yes, this goes beyond our regular research protocols. A species that can reshape other species, that can turn predators into protectors. They're more dangerous than we initially believed. She pressed the emergency transmission button. Command Fleet, this is lead researcher Dawn Star. We have confirmed the presence of engineered biological weapons on Earth. The humans have created them from apex predators, using methods we don't fully understand. They call them dogs, but we believe this is just a code name. Request immediate intervention. As she sent the message, Dawn Star watched the puppy on the screen below roll over for a belly rub, its tail wagging happily. Most ingenious of all, she muttered, they've disguised these weapons as something their enemies would never fear. The perfect deception. Kate Wilson stood in the alien ship's decontamination chamber, trying not to laugh at the ridiculous protective suit they'd made her wear. It looked like something out of a sci-fi movie, complete with glowing blue lines running along its edges. "Final warning, human handler," Commander Firstlight's voice came through the speaker. "The beast has already affected 3 of our crew with its mind control abilities. They keep requesting permission to give it something called scratches." "I understand the risks," Kate replied, keeping her voice professional despite the smile tugging at her lips. In her pocket, she could feel the weight of the tennis ball and the bag of treats. The door opened with a soft hiss. Kate walked into the containment room, where the large crystal enclosure dominated the center. Inside, the German Shepherd puppy was busy playing with its own tail, spinning in circles. "We're monitoring your vital signs," the alien scientist, Dawnstar, announced from behind a thick safety window. "At the first sign of mental manipulation, we'll activate emergency protocols." Kate approached the enclosure slowly, not because she was afraid, but because she was trying to maintain the appearance of a serious inspection. The puppy noticed her and immediately bounced over to the wall, tail wagging so hard its whole body wiggled. "Remarkable," Dawnstar muttered into her recorder. "Watch how it immediately assumes an aggressive stance, whole body vibrating with barely contained energy." "May I enter the containment unit?" Kate asked. The aliens all started talking at once. Commander Firstlight stepped forward. "You would willingly enter the beast's domain, without protective barriers. It's necessary for a proper inspection," Kate explained patiently. After much discussion and the signing of several alien liability waivers, they opened a small door in the enclosure. Kate stepped inside and immediately found herself with a lapful of excited puppy. "The beast attacks," one of the alien scientists shouted, but Firstlight held up a hand, fascinated by what was happening. Kate scratched behind the puppy's ears, and it flopped onto its back, exposing its belly. "What's this little guy's name?" she asked. "We haven't given it a designation," Dawnstar admitted. "We didn't want to risk forming an emotional attachment." "Well, we can't keep calling him the beast," Kate said, pulling out a treat. The puppy sat immediately, watching the treat with intense focus. "How about Max? What is that object you're holding?" Firstlight demanded, pressing closer to the window. "Just a training tool," Kate said, giving Max the treat. "Watch this." She held up another treat. "Max, sit." The puppy sat perfectly. "Lie down." Max lay down. "Roll over." Max rolled over, tail wagging the whole time. The aliens were frantically taking notes. "The level of control is unprecedented," Dawnstar exclaimed. "With just verbal commands and some kind of small food item, she can make it perform complex maneuvers." Kate pulled out the tennis ball next. Max's ears perked up immediately. "What is that spherical weapon?" Firstlight asked nervously. "This." Kate held up the ball. "It's just a toy. Watch." She tossed it gently across the enclosure, and Max bounded after it, bringing it back and dropping it at her feet with a playful bark. "It retrieves potential explosives," one scientist gasped, "and returns them to its handler. The training is incredible." Over the next hour, Kate put Max through basic obedience exercises, each one making the aliens more amazed. When she started teaching him to shake hands, Dawnstar had to sit down. "It's allowing physical contact with its battle appendage," she whispered in awe. Finally, exhausted from playing, Max curled up in Kate's lap and fell asleep. The sight of the supposedly fearsome weapon snoring softly, paws twitching as he dreamed, caused quite a stir among the alien observers. How Firstlight seemed at a loss for words. "How did you neutralize its aggressive capabilities so quickly?" Kate stroked Max's soft fur. "There was nothing to neutralize. He's just a puppy. All he wants is love, care, and maybe a few more tennis balls." "Love?" Dawnstar leaned forward. "Is that some kind of special training technique?" Kate looked down at the sleeping puppy and smiled. "Actually, it might be the most special technique of all. 2 days after Kate's demonstration, Commander First Light faced an unexpected crisis aboard his ship. It started when he caught his second-in-command, Starseeker, sneaking food from the dining hall. "Explain yourself," First Light demanded, following Starseeker down a quiet corridor. Starseeker's skin turned a pale shade of purple, a sign of embarrassment. "Sir, I can explain. I was just—" A small bark interrupted them. First Light's 4 eyes widened as a tiny golden retriever puppy poked its head out from behind Starseeker's uniform. "You brought another one aboard." First Light's voice rose in shock. "How? When?" "Her name is Luna," Starseeker admitted, gently picking up the puppy. "The human Kate helped me adopt her from something called a rescue shelter. She said Luna needed a home." First Light was about to reprimand his officer when Luna looked at him with big brown eyes and wagged her tail. Something strange happened in his chest, a warming sensation he couldn't explain. "Sir," Starseeker held out the puppy. "Would you like to hold her?" Before First Light could refuse, he found himself with an armful of warm, wiggling puppy. Luna immediately licked his face, and to his horror, he heard himself make a sound suspiciously like a giggle. "This is completely against protocol," he said, even as he scratched behind Luna's ears exactly the way Kate had shown them. "We can't have these creatures aboard a military vessel." "Actually, sir," Dawnstar appeared around the corner, her own datapad clutched to her chest. "I've been researching. Humans have been using these beings in military operations for centuries. They call it working dogs." First Light looked down at Luna, who was now sleeping peacefully in his arms. "But they're so small. They grow bigger," Dawnstar explained excitedly, "and they can be trained for multiple purposes: search and rescue, detection work, therapy." "Therapy?" First Light asked. "Yes. Apparently, just petting them releases something called endorphins in many species. I've documented a 47% increase in crew morale since Starseeker brought Luna aboard." First Light wanted to maintain his stern commander persona, but Luna chose that moment to snuggle closer in her sleep. "This is still highly irregular," he muttered. By the end of the week, things had gotten completely out of hand. The ship's recreation room had been converted into a dog park. Crew members were exchanging pictures of puppies on their datapads. Even the ship's chef had started making special treats following recipes Kate had shared. During one of their daily update meetings with Earth, General Miller noticed something odd in the background of the alien ship's bridge. "Commander First Light," he said carefully, "is that a dog bed behind your command chair?" First Light's skin turned slightly purple. "It's for inspection purposes only. We need to study their resting habits." A small bark gave him away, and Luna's head popped up from the bed, followed by Max, who had somehow become her best friend. Kate, who was present for the meeting, smiled knowingly. "How's the training going, Commander?" "They are surprisingly receptive to instruction," First Light admitted. "Luna has already mastered sit, stay, and something called fetch, though I maintain this is purely for research purposes." Just then, another alien rushed onto the bridge. "Sir, the Earth creatures have discovered how to operate the ship's elevator." They were seen riding it up and down with Junior Officer Lightbreeze. First Light sighed, his stern facade finally cracking as Luna bounded over and placed a slightly drool-covered ball at his feet. "I suppose," he said, picking up the ball, "we may need to revise our initial assessment of Earth's ultimate weapons." "You know," Kate suggested gently, "there's a dog show next weekend. Perfect opportunity for more research." The commander's skin brightened with interest, a demonstration of their capabilities. "Something like that," Kate grinned. "Luna might even win a ribbon." "A competition?" First Light straightened proudly. "Well, naturally. She is, after all, being trained by the finest command staff in the galaxy." As if to agree, Luna barked happily, starting a chorus of barks throughout the ship that proved just how many research subjects were now aboard. In the ship's main research lab, Dawnstar stared at her holographic display with growing amazement. After 3 weeks of studying Earth's dogs, she had finally connected all the pieces of the puzzle. What she discovered both terrified and fascinated her. "Commander," she called urgently through the ship's communication system. "You need to see this immediately." First Light arrived minutes later, Luna trotting happily at his heels. The commander had long since given up pretending the golden retriever wasn't his constant companion. "What have you found?" he asked, absent-mindedly tossing a squeaky toy for Luna. Dawnstar pulled up a series of images. "Sir, we've been looking at this all wrong. The dogs aren't the weapons. They're the proof of something far more significant." The first image showed an ancient wolf. This was their starting point, a dangerous predator that most species would flee from. She swiped to the next image, showing a modern dog playing with children. And this is what humans transformed them into. Not through advanced technology or genetic manipulation labs, but through thousands of years of selective breeding and patience. First Light's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "What are you suggesting?" "Sir, humans took one of the most efficient killing machines in their world and turned it into a loving companion. Not by force or through fear, but through understanding, kindness, and determination." Dawnstar brought up more images. "And it's not just dogs. Look." The screen filled with examples: horses carrying humans on their backs, cats sleeping in human beds, birds landing on human hands, dolphins working with human swimmers. "They can befriend almost any species they encounter," Dawnstar explained, her skin flickering with excitement. "They'd done it with countless Earth animals, some that fly, some that swim, some that could easily kill them. But instead of conquering these creatures, they form bonds with them." Luna chose that moment to roll over for a belly rub, which First Light automatically provided while processing this information. "Are you saying?" He started slowly. "Humans are the most patient predators we've ever encountered," Dawnstar concluded. "They don't just fight or conquer, they transform. They take savage wolves and turn them into creatures that comfort their sick. They take wild horses and make them into trusted partners. They understand other species so well that they can change them over generations, not through force, but through love." First Light sank into a chair, still petting Luna. "No wonder their dogs are so loyal. The humans didn't break their spirit. They guided it into something new." "Exactly." Dawnstar brought up more data. "And look at their current space program. They're already talking about terraforming Mars, establishing colonies, adapting to new environments. Just like they adapted wolves into hundreds of different dog breeds for different purposes. They're not just surviving on their world," First Light realized. "They're actively reshaping it, and any species they encounter can become their friend or their project," Dawnstar finished. "Their capacity for changing their environment and other species is unprecedented. They don't just adapt to their world, they make their world adapt to them." As if to emphasize the point, Luna brought her ball to Dawnstar, using the puppy eyes technique that the scientists now recognized as an evolved trait, deliberately cultivated by humans over generations. "So when we threatened them," First Light began, "they didn't respond with aggression. Instead, they sent Kate to teach us, to help us understand." Dawnstar looked at Luna, just like they once taught wolves to be companions. First Light stood up, his decision made. "Contact Earth immediately. I believe it's time we discussed a very different kind of alliance." "Sir," Dawnstar asked, "if humans can transform apex predators into loyal friends, imagine what we could learn from them." He smiled as Luna chased her tail. "Besides, I believe several crew members would riot if we had to give up our new companions." Dawnstar nodded, then paused. "Sir, should I delete the part of our report where we classified puppies as biological weapons?" "Please do," First Light said, throwing Luna's ball again. "Though perhaps keep a copy. The High Council won't believe this without evidence of our initial misunderstanding." 1 year after the alien fleet first appeared above Earth, The scene at Central Park in New York City was anything but ordinary. Humans and aliens walked side by side along the paths, many accompanied by dogs of all shapes and sizes. Commander First Light stood on a makeshift stage, Luna sitting perfectly at attention beside him. Her puppy days were behind her now, though she still had the same loving personality. In front of the stage, hundreds of humans and aliens gathered for the first interstellar pet adoption day. When we first came to Earth, First Light began his speech, his skin glowing a warm shade of blue. We thought we had discovered a planet developing biological weapons. Instead, we found something far more valuable: teachers. In the crowd, Kate sat with Max, now a handsome adult German Shepherd. Dawn Star stood nearby, taking notes as always, though now she had a small mixed-breed puppy sleeping in a special pouch she designed for her uniform. Humans showed us that true strength isn't about domination, First Light continued. It's about understanding, patience, and the ability to form bonds across species. They taught us that different doesn't mean dangerous. Behind him, on large screens, images showed the changes of the past year. Alien children learning to play fetch, dogs accompanying alien scientists on expeditions, the first alien-designed dog park with gravity-defying play equipment that both species loved. Today, we're not just celebrating the success of our interspecies exchange program, First Light announced. We're celebrating a new understanding between our peoples. And yes, he added with what humans now recognized as a smile, I'm also celebrating Luna winning Best in Show at last month's Intergalactic Dog Show. The crowd laughed, and Luna wagged her tail proudly. General Miller stepped up to the podium next. Who would have thought, he said, that a misunderstanding about puppies would lead to one of the most successful, peaceful first contact situations in human history. Though I still can't believe you thought Max was a weapon of mass destruction. In our defense, First Light replied, have you seen what happens when someone opens a bag of treats? The destruction is immediate. After the speeches, Kate walked through the adoption area where specially trained human and alien handlers helped match families with pets. Dawn Star had developed a universal translation collar that helped bridge any remaining communication gaps between species. Look, Kate pointed out to First Light, your crew members started another trend. Several aliens were wearing the now popular doggy carriers, special uniform modifications that Dawn Star had designed to let them keep their smaller dogs with them during work hours. It had become such a hit that human companies were now making their own versions. The High Council was skeptical at first. First Light admitted watching an alien child being enthusiastically kissed by a rescue puppy. But our productivity and happiness metrics are up 300% since we implemented the companion program. And the space station? Kate asked. The first interstellar dog park will be operational next month, he confirmed. Zero-gravity fetch is going to be interesting. Dawn Star approached them, her datapad as always in hand. The adoption rate is exceeding expectations, she reported happily. And the new combined human-alien training program has a waiting list 3 light-years long. A commotion near the stage drew their attention. Starseeker was trying to demonstrate Earth's latest gift to alien culture, the concept of dog costumes. Luna, dressed as a small lion, seemed very pleased with herself. You know, First Light mused, watching humans and aliens laughing together, dogs playing between them. When we first detected Earth, we were worried about finding dangerous weapons. And instead, Kate asked, though she knew the answer. Instead, we found something much more powerful: friendship, understanding, and creatures who can somehow steal your bed despite being 1/10 your size. As if on cue, Luna bounded back to First Light, her lion mane slightly askew, tail wagging. Around them, the park was filled with the sounds of happy barks, alien laughter, and human chatter. So, Kate grinned, same time next year. First Light picked up Luna's favorite ball. Next year, and every year after. After all, the universe is a lot less frightening with a friend by your side, even if that friend occasionally chews your shoes. Kate asked. Especially then. First Light laughed, throwing the ball for Luna. Especially then.